Reimagining Success, Episode 3. You're listening to Reimagining Success, the podcast where we help you reimagine your future, designing a life and career beyond the 9 to 5 that allows you the freedom, flexibility and fulfillment that you've been dreaming of. I'm your host, Anna Lundberg. Now, let's get started on those dreams. Hello there, this is Anna Lundberg. I'm the founder of One Step Outside, where we help people around the world create a business and build a lifestyle that brings them more freedom, flexibility, and fulfillment. In these first few podcast episodes, we've been talking about how we need to reimagine success beyond the narrow confines of work and a 9 to 5 job and so on, to really encompass everything that's important to us and all the things we want to experience and we wish to achieve within our lifetime. So today I want to continue to explore the answer to the question, what is success to you? Now, we're not talking teeny tiny incremental gains here. I'd like to do a bit more of this, a little bit of that, and so on. Of course, once we've decided what we want to do, then we will absolutely take small steps to get there, steps in the right direction. But at the moment, we're really talking massive goals and dreams. I always say that you need to think big first, and then later, once you've uncovered those secret ambitions and dreams, you can, of course, and you need to, narrow down your options and filter for feasibility and so on. But let's start by dreaming big before we narrow down and limit ourselves unnecessarily. Now, it's really easy to let our current circumstances limit what we think is possible for us in the future. So, for example, we might be in a particular corporate job and have been in that industry and role since university, and we have no concept at all of all the possibilities that exist out there. Or maybe we've never started our business, we have no idea how to go about it, and so we don't even consider that as a possibility. Or taking a different area of our lives, maybe we've been single for a long time, we can't begin to imagine being in a secure relationship and starting a family. And those 3 examples are all taken from my personal life, and I can assure you that those things that were very much impossible when I considered them, or maybe even didn't consider them 5-6 years ago, are very much a reality for me today. Now, the other mistake I see people making, which massively limits them in what they can achieve, is to get caught up in all the reasons why something isn't going to work. So, I couldn't possibly do that because XYZ, or that would never work. Who am I to think that I could, and so on. But please, humour me here. Forget where you are right now. Forget the ifs and buts and all the reasons why you think it's not possible. Because defining what success means for you involves looking at the what and the why it's important to you, but the how is going to come later. So let's focus on the what and the why for now. And in any case, what may seem impossible now can actually become far more realistic once we increase the time horizon sufficiently. Something huge may not be possible today, tomorrow, or even next year, but about 10 years from now, that begins to make it sound more feasible. If we put in the work, get the help we need, and so on. So how do you begin to imagine these massive possibilities in the future? How do you shake yourself out of that over-analysis, disconnect from the rational brain really that automatically limits you, and move out of your comfort zone beyond your fears? So I want to give you a few ideas. I've got 3 different exercises you can try, so quite practical today, and I'd love for you to see which of these resonates with you. And the first one is free writing. And I'm a writer, I love writing, so this is something that's worked for me in the past. And my first suggestion to you is simply to ask yourself the question, what is success for you? What are goals that are important to you? What do you want to do, be, and have in your life? So often people will tell me, I don't know what I want, but deep down, I think if you admit it to yourself, if not to others yet, often you really do know. You're just not allowing yourself to believe that something is a possibility. It's much safer to keep doing what you've been doing, not articulate what you really want. Because then, of course, if you say what you want, the risk is, the possibility is that you open yourself up to failure if you're unable to achieve it. So it's much safer to never try, right? But just to give you an example of this, I was working with a coach a few years ago, and I forget the context, but the one thing I remember was I was throwing out sort of a random idea. I said, let's say I wanted to be a best-selling author living by the ocean. And she completely called me out on this. Thank you, Naomi, and said, hang on a second, Anna, stopped me in my tracks and said, that is your goal. So don't say, throw that out as sort of a random idea, a sort of crazy thought. That really is your goal. Now, of course, that's a very vague sentence to say, what does best-selling mean, and so on. But if I admitted it to myself, then that definitely held a lot of what I really wanted to do at that time in my life. And since then, I've published a couple of books, actually. I'm not living by the ocean yet, but I've certainly spent more time by the ocean. And those are very important things to me. So, sometimes we'll throw something out there as something like, let's say I wanted to be an author. And actually, deep down, that is our actual vision, our goal, if we let ourselves admit that to ourselves. So, as I said, the first exercise is free writing. So, to answer this question, what is success to you? And try to tap into what you already may know. You can try this free writing. So, for example, you can set the alarm for, let's say, 3 minutes, start writing, grab a pen and paper, and don't stop until the alarm rings. So, you can use the following prompts, for example. Success for me means, and you can continue and see what follows. I want to do, and so on. I want to be. I want to have. So these are different sort of formulations to get you thinking or get your mind, your hand really expressing what success means to you. And to get deeper, or actually rather broader, into the different areas of your life, because we don't want this to be, of course, focused just on work and professional success and so on. You can actually repeat the exercise with specific topics. So let's say you give yourself 3 minutes just to keep it open. Then you can set the alarm again for another 3 minutes. And you can consider the 5 L's that we looked at last week. So if you missed that, you can pop back over to episode 2 and have a listen to the 5 L's. But just as a reminder, otherwise, the L's are live, wellness and well-being, love, relationships and romance, learn, development and growth, lead, career and impact, and laugh, fun and spontaneity. So if you set yourself an alarm for each of those, that's another 15 minutes. If you can take those, that short quarter of an hour in your life to look at your big goals in life, you'll end up with some ideas in each of these areas. Maybe in wellness and well-being, you want to run a marathon, or you want to be the fittest you've ever been. You want to climb Kilimanjaro, I don't know. And other goals in relationships, in love and romance. Maybe you want to learn a new language, an instrument, or start your own business and learn new podcasting skills, write a book and so on. Maybe you want to do something completely random and fun that has nothing to do with your work at all. And it's just something, that adds colour really to your life. So doing the free writing exercise first generally, and then with each of the 5 L's, is going to help you to consider success in each of these different areas, and not just, again, the traditional, conventional focus on professional success, career, promotions, and so on. So that is the first exercise, free writing. Now, the second one is your ideal day. To get more specific and to uncover some potentially unexpected elements that you may have missed in the free writing exercise, one of my favourite frameworks is this one, the ideal day. And I get my clients to do this all the time. So the idea is to imagine your ideal day in every possible detail from start to finish. Where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing? And you really want to get as detailed as possible. What do you see, hear, smell? Use all your senses. So imagine an absolutely perfect day in your life. Let's say that your life today involves an early alarm that jolts you out of bed mid-sleep cycle. You grab a coffee, you queue up at the station to squeeze onto the train for your daily commute. You spend the day indoors in tedious meetings, hunched over your computer at your desk, staying late in the office. You skip the gym at the end of the day because you're just too tired. You come home, you argue with your partner. Then you stay up late just to enjoy a bit of time to yourself, and your partner's already asleep when you eventually drag yourself off into bed. Well, if that is your reality today, forget about that, and let's imagine our rose-tinted glasses, absolutely perfect, ideal day. So, for example, do you wake up without an alarm to the sound of birds tweeting in your garden, fully rested and feeling excited to jump out of bed and get started? Do you begin your day by taking your dog for a walk along the beach as the sun rises over the ocean? Do you perhaps stop by the local bakery to pick up some freshly made croissants for a nice leisurely breakfast with your partner before heading into your home office to write on your new book? Maybe then you take a break and go out for lunch at your favourite cafe. You meet your best friend for a chat. Another few hours of work in the afternoon. Maybe you're coaching clients one-on-one in the park. You're creating content for your podcast. Maybe you're planning a retreat. At the end of the day, you enjoy a nice glass of wine to finish off the workday. You shut the door on your home office, and then you cook a delicious, healthy dinner for you and your family. You read and sing for your kids, and then have some me time curled up with a novel by your favourite author. You go to bed at the same time as your partner, and then sleep soundly in your amazing bed. I hope you agree that that example isn't even that ridiculous and far-fetched, and often it is about the simple things, and you may well be surprised as to how easy it would be to make some small but absolutely transformative changes in your life to get your current day to get much closer to your ideal day. But you can also go as big and crazy and unrealistic, I'm doing quotation marks that you can't see, as you want with this exercise. So have a go at that, picture your ideal day, and once you've painted a really vivid picture of your personal ideal day, have a look at it and see what themes you can see. Are there any important elements that stand out to you? What are the biggest differences versus where you are today? And these insights can really help you draw conclusions about your desired future and what it is that's really important to you, in particular in contrast to where you are today. So that's exercise 2, your ideal day. Now, the third and final one is a very creative and visual exercise, and that is the vision board. And this really uses a different part of your brain. So we've just been writing quite a bit. That's quite analytical, rational, uses the reasoning part of your brain. And you may have heard of the idea of a vision board. You may even have done one before. It's really just a collage of all the things that you're striving for and working towards. Now, a vision board is really intended to bring you insights about what it is you're really longing for, as well as giving you a visual reminder once you've created it, that you can have up front and centre, maybe on your notice board or your fridge door at home, or as a background on your laptop or your phone. Now, the old school way, the old-fashioned way of doing a vision board would be to grab a bunch of magazines, ideally a range of different types of magazines, maybe travel, women's magazines, business and so on, because that gives you lots of different types of pictures. And then you can choose images and words that resonate with you, that represent something that you want more of in your life. Grab a pair of scissors, some glue or tape, and then put that onto a nice board, and you can make it as big or as small as you want to. And that's a really fun thing to do. Maybe if you've got kids, you can get them doing some arts and crafty things at the same time. But that's the first old-fashioned way, is to get some magazines. Now, personally, I've stopped reading paper magazines. I'm much more digital, so there is an online way to do this. And you can search for keywords on Google Images, for example, or even on Pinterest. Pinterest, you can create your own sort of vision board, which has endless amounts of pictures that you then can look at. Of course, the difference is if you're doing it online, this does require you to have some kind of idea of what to put in. The benefit of just browsing through magazines is that that might bring some unexpected ideas. It's a very open way of doing it. Whereas if you're searching things, you'd have to put in, let's say, books, ocean, freedom, whatever it might be. But you do, as I'm sure you have experienced online before, you go down a rabbit hole where you can end up in all sorts of unexpected places. So I think online is a great way to do it too. And then, of course, you can take a screenshot and again, make that your phone or laptop background. So either magazines, pen, paper, scissors, glue, and so on, or you can do it online in PowerPoint or Keynote or on Pinterest. In either case, though, as I said, you choose those images and words that are really important to you, that represent that something or someone or whatever it is that you want more of in your life. So, for example, it might be a picture of a little reading nook by the window with a view out over the ocean. It might be an elderly couple walking together holding hands. It might be the window of a bookshop where your book is present on the new releases shelf. Or it might be words that really represent values, for example, freedom, belonging, presence. Now, funnily enough, I remembered just the other day, I went to a talk by someone a few years ago who said that she put a picture of a male model onto her board, and years later she fell in love with and married a lookalike of that male model. Now, we're not talking here about magically manifesting things simply by putting them up on a board. And to be honest, I don't think we should be visualising the exact physical features of our ideal partner. But you will soon see, if you do try this exercise, there is an immense power in simply putting these images and these ideas out there, putting them up front and center in your life, and knowing that this is what you want. So those are the 3 exercises. Have a go at one or all of them. The free writing, imagining your ideal day, and creating your vision board, and see what new ideas and light bulb moments you might come up with. Now, the best thing about this is that there are no right answers, and it's really important to remember that. If there are any right answers, then it's you who gets to decide what those are. So, above all, don't put pressure on yourself to come up with an exact, detailed business model or the perfect lifestyle. Don't care. If you have no interest in writing a book or living by the ocean, don't put that just because I've kept mentioning that today. That's important to me. You know, this is a personal exercise. You don't have to share it with anybody. If you do want to share it with me, I'd love to see it. So you can email me at podcast@onestepoutside.com. That's podcast@onestepoutside.com. But again, it can be a very personal exercise. You don't need to admit it or share it with anyone at this stage. So go as wild and crazy and as honest as you possibly can. Open up, forget where you are today for a moment, and start dreaming. So again, free writing, ideal day, and vision board. And I hope that gives you a few practical ways. If you've been listening to the last few episodes and thinking, yeah, this all sounds great, but how on earth do I get started? This is a really tangible way to begin to imagine and reimagining what success might be for you. So that is it for today. We've begun to explore what success might mean to you, and I'll be continuing in this vein in the coming weeks. Above all, I'll be back next week already, next Thursday, and I look forward to seeing you then. So thanks so much for listening. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Reimagining Success with Anna Lundberg. If you like the show and want to know more, check out the website reimaginingsuccesspodcast.com. I'll see you next week.